Claude can now carry what it remembers from a normal chat into a task that works on your behalf. That removes repeated explanations, but it also makes checking what the assistant remembers more important. Today, AI is moving out of isolated chat boxes. It is appearing in workplace conversations, hearing glasses, searchable podcasts, and the chips that keep agents responsive. The theme is persistence. These systems are starting to remember context, stay inside the tools people already use, and keep working across more of the day. First, Claude Chat and Claude Cowork now share one memory. Anthropic says information remembered in ordinary Claude conversations can carry into cloud-based Cowork tasks, and details learned there can return to chat. You should no longer need to explain the same project or preference when switching from a question to a multi-step job. Users can read, edit, or delete remembered topics. Anthropic says health, politics, religion, and other sensitive categories are not saved by default, although users can choose to include them. Some highly sensitive identifiers, including government identification and social security numbers, are not supposed to be stored. Memory is enabled by default on free, pro, and max plans across web, desktop, and mobile. Cowork itself requires a paid plan, and availability varies by device and account type. The shared memory behavior applies to Cowork sessions running in Anthropic's cloud, not every local workflow. Why it matters? This makes Claude feel more continuous, but convenience changes the privacy calculation. A useful habit is to open memory settings occasionally and remove anything that should not influence future work. An assistant that remembers more can save time, but only if people can see and control the record. Next, Google is putting a new Ask Gemini workspace inside Google Chat. Starting today, eligible users can ask Gemini to search Gmail, Drive, and Calendar, summarize conversations, draft updates, and manage tasks without leaving chat. It replaces the older Gemini side panel. There are important limits. The rollout is gradual and can take up to 15 days. It currently applies to accounts set to English on Business Standard and Plus, Enterprise Standard and Plus, and the Google AI Pro for Education add-on. Workspace Smart features and the relevant administrator settings must be enabled. Old Gemini side panel conversations will not move into the new Surface. Gems also disappear from the chat side panel, although they remain available in other workspace apps. Google is offering higher promotional limits through October 1st, with normal usage limits expected after that. Why it matters? For teams already living in Google Chat, the practical change is fewer tabs and faster access to company information. The trade-off is that organizations need clear rules about which messages and files Gemini may use, and users should export any old side panel history they need before assuming it will follow them. Third, a startup called Legato has shown AI hearing glasses designed for people with mild to moderate hearing loss. Legato frames look like ordinary eyewear, but microphones and signal processing are intended to separate voices from background noise. The company says the glasses amplify speech while directing sound toward the wearer through an open-ear design. That could make conversations in restaurants or busy rooms easier to follow without a separate traditional hearing aid. The product is not available today. Legato expects a launch later this fall through selected United States eye care providers. The final price is unknown. The company only says it should cost less than traditional hearing aids. Legato also announced $12 million in funding. Claims about noise separation, comfort, and reduced sound leakage come from the company and have not yet been independently tested in a shipping product. Why it matters? This is a concrete accessibility use for AI rather than another general chatbot. Putting hearing assistants into familiar glasses could reduce cost and stigma, but buyers should wait for the final price, battery details, clinical guidance, and independent reviews before treating it as a replacement for established hearing care. Fourth, Particle has launched Radar, a search engine for spoken information inside podcasts. Radar transcribes podcasts, identifies speakers and topics, extracts timestamped clips, and sends mention alerts. Particle says it covers more than 130,000 podcasts and adds around 20,000 episodes daily. The web service costs $29 per user each month. A business plan costs $399 per month for 20 seats, while API pricing is custom. The API and Model Context Protocol connection let AI agents search the same audio index automatically. Those coverage figures are company reported. Copyright, licensing, and publisher control questions also matter when large volumes of spoken media become machine searchable, and the announcement does not establish how every podcast creator views this use. Why it matters. Search engines and agents have mostly been better at reading text than listening to hours of audio. Searchable, time-stamped podcast clips could help researchers and listeners verify what somebody actually said. The source link matters. A summary should lead back to the exact audio, not replace it. Finally, OpenAI has published the first detailed benchmark results for Jalapeno +or-O, its custom AI inference chip. Inference is the stage when a trained model produces an answer. OpenAI says Jalapeno +or-O completed 1.5 to 1.9 times more AI work per watt at peak throughput, with 1.7 to 3.6 times lower end-to-end delay than the comparison systems across 3 open models. For highly interactive workloads, the company reports 2.1 to 4.1 times higher performance. These are OpenAI's measurements using the public InferenceX benchmark. The company used published chip power ratings, and competitors are not clear in every chart. Independent reproduction is needed before treating this as a settled ranking. Jalapeno +or-O is not a consumer chip and cannot be purchased for a home computer. OpenAI plans to ramp deployment in its own infrastructure over the coming months. Faster, more efficient inference could eventually mean quicker agents and lower operating costs, but no consumer price reduction was announced. Why it matters. Owning the chip gives OpenAI more control over speed, energy use, and dependence on outside suppliers. It also shows why the AI competition is expanding below the model itself. The company that controls the hardware can shape which agents are affordable to run at scale. Today's takeaway is that persistent AI needs persistent controls. Memory should be editable, workplace access should be governed, accessibility claims should be tested, audio answers should link to evidence, and chip benchmarks should be reproducible. Which story do you think will have the biggest impact? Let me know in the comments, and subscribe for your daily AI update.